Hello everyone, I'm NTom64.
And I'm Ex-Gamer Richy.
And welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Child of Eden. Richy, why do you keep selecting these sorts of games that I have no knowledge of?
Well, I mean, the reason for this one happening is because it's rather short. You wanted something to fit in at the end of February that was rather short, and I was just like, well, I really like this game and I've brought it up enough on HellfireComms, what with, in the No More Heroes playthrough, and I'm thinking something else as well, so I just thought, now's the time to show it off to all of the HSC viewers.
Well, you'll notice that this comes at the beginning of February. There was a slight schedule change. You'll be seeing Sly Cooper towards the end. But what exactly is Child of Eden? Because I actually got confused when you first pitched this to me. I got it confused with Child of Light, which is like sort of a 2D platformer kind of thing.
Yes, so Child of Eden is basically a rhythm shooter. So, it's created by Tetsuya Mizuguchi, who's best known for the game called Rez, which was also a rhythm shooter of sorts. And this is essentially the spiritual successor to that, which is not particularly helpful if you don't know Rez, but it'll be much easier once we get into the gameplay to show off the similarities. But Child of Eden's main thing that it's got going for it is its soundtrack, which is entirely made up of music by the Genki Rockets.
Haha, yeah, No More Heroes and all that good shit.
Yes, and also it was one of the major games to use the Kinect on the Xbox One, which is not a massive thing going for it, but it makes it unique.
I guess. You remember when that, I forget which development group it was, but they were so butthurt when it was announced that Kinect would no longer be mandatory. I think it was Disney.
It probably was, to be honest.
Oh, it was that Fantasia game.
Yes, that's the one, yes.
So, the gist of this is, we go through, like, the memories and whatnot of someone who's died?
So basically, the general plot is that in the year 2019, there was a girl called Lumi who was born on the International Space Station.
Yes, we've seen all this, right?
Yes, and that is basically the actual backstory for the character of Lumi, who is the singer of the Genki Rockets.
Okay.
And what's happened is that, kind of, by the 23rd century, scientists had developed archives of data about human existence. So the internet is now Eden, and they tried to create Lumi within Eden because they had the data.
Okay.
But then, as you're about to see in this wonderful cutscene, things don't exactly go to plan.
Wow, these graphics are so lifelike.
That's because they are.
Well, get shat on, David Cage.
But yes, Lumi here is portrayed by Rachel Rhodes, who is the official singer for Lumi and the Genki Rockets. Although, pretty much, if you try to find her now, her stage name is Yasuda Ray. Okay. Because she's got quite a solo career going for her at the minute.
One of those dealios.
Well, I think because from what I can gather, she auditioned for the role of Lumi when she was like 13. And she got it, and they did like Heavenly Star and stuff. And then obviously, as she's gotten older, I think she probably wanted to just branch out.
Okay,
and
that's fair enough.
Yeah, so they've allowed her to quite happily do that. And if you check out like the Genki Rockets Facebook page, whenever Yasuda Ray is kind of sending out new music, I think they do tend to try and link you to it.
This is going to be great to go alongside Kingdom Hearts RE Chain of Memories, by the way, because you got the mindfuck in there, and then I can just come over here and look at the pretty colours.
Pretty much, yes, although I think you're going to be slightly confused as to what the hell's going on.
Well, that's why we have you here as the interpreter, right?
Basically, what's happening here is that a virus has invaded Eden. And so we are set with our task. Save Eden, save Lumi.
Okay.
And now we're going to get kind of taken right into a thing which is called Lumi's Garden. Essentially, is your level select screen, which isn't particularly interesting. I'm going to go through a few of the options here, because when you start the game initially, you've just got a normal HUD, but I'm going to set so I have everything visible on the screen, because normally things like your completion rate of an area aren't visible, and it's all quite complex.
There's a Euphoria button.
Yes. I will explain what that means when we go into the first level, because it's part of the tutorial.
Oh man, I've always wanted to go euphoric at the touch of a button.
Now, if there's one thing that I would point out, you are given the option of changing like the sound levels and like how loud the sound effects are. If you want to do well at Child of Eden, I would recommend lowering the volume of the sound effects by quite a chunk, because they can be very off-putting, especially if you want to get the highest scores.
Okay.
It's a bit weird, but it is so much easier when you actually get into the gameplay.
Man, these are some hype option screens here, but what about the actual gameplay?
Well, we are about to get into that now.
I would hope so.
So we're going to go into our first level, which is called Matrix.
Awesome. Did you actually use the Kinect for this, or was there an option for controller usage?
No, there is an option for controller usage, and that's what I've always used. I did actually try out the Kinect controls for Child of Eden, because I think when I went for like either an open day or for my interview at Cambridge, there was a game nearby, and they actually had Child of Eden on an Xbox 360 there.
Yeah.
And they had the Kinect set up, so I tried it, and I hated it. But the controller controls work wonderfully well, so I'm quite happy with them.
Yeah, this is very Res-like.
Yeah.
So, explain to us how Child of Eden works gameplay-wise.
So, obviously you've got your reticule here, and that is how you're going to be targeting your enemies. You just highlight them if you're holding down the A button, and you will get kind of an auto lock-on. If you can lock on to 8 enemies, or kind of 8 enemy hits, and then release the button in time with the music, then you will get a multiplier. And that is your way of kind of getting a higher score.
Okay. I think this is the first with the HFC channel. I don't think we've done any, like, rhythm games or rail shooters either.
Well, you have done one rhythm game, although it was a stream playthrough, and that was Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure.
Ah, yes, the not-so-great Layton homage.
Yeah. Don't know about rail shooters, though you have done Half-Life 2, whichever episode it was, which is a shooter, so... And also Portal, so you have done a few games which are shooters, but nothing like this at all.
I wouldn't classify Portal as a shooter, per se. It's a first-person puzzle game.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, with a sort of gun, yeah, but with equivalent semantics, no?
Pretty much, yeah. Now, the thing that Matrix is here for is it is basically the tutorial level. It kind of introduces you to all the different things, so like picking up health power-ups, picking up Euphoria power-ups there. Basically what Euphoria is it's a screen nuke.
Mm.
So if you find yourself slightly overwhelmed by the amount of enemies on screen, or the amount of things being sent your way, then you can use that, and it will just obliterate everything.
Ah, Fedora mode on.
Mm-hmm. But the thing that you're going to want to do, if you want to get the best scores, is to not use Euphoria at all, because if you get to the end of the level with Euphoria still in your kind of hold, I suppose, then you get extra points. So you're actually never going to see me use Euphoria once in this entire playthrough.
Oh man, this is a treat for the eyes, honestly.
It's wonderful. And I mean, the thing is that Matrix isn't really one of my favourite archives. No, those are the second one, which we'll be seeing in the next part, and the last 2.
This is going to be a kind of shorter sort of playthrough, at least in terms of part length. So if we put up a video and it's like 10 minutes long, don't worry, there'll be another one roughly around the same length the next day, or the next upload though.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that it's basically a part per archive, so it makes entire sense to me anyway.
So how many times have you played through Child of Eden?
So I've done it twice on my channel, once when I only had a Dazzle, and then once pretty much as soon as I got a Hapage, which was pretty soon after each other, but yeah, it was a case of I felt that I hadn't done Child of Eden justice when I did it the first time, so I wanted to do a much better run.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm doing it now.
Well, this is basically a break for me, mate, so thank you.
Now, one of the things that I haven't talked about here is that we got introduced to the Tracer like a minute or two ago, and that is done by holding down like the trigger button. And whenever you see a purple enemy or a purple shot being fired towards you, you have to use the tracer to destroy it. And that doesn't earn you as many points as getting, like, the Octolock, which I think is what it's called.
Wait, Octorock?
Octolock.
Okay.
Just because it's an 8 locks.
Octo means 8.
Yes. I have to say, I think that Matrix is a very good level for introducing you to the key components of the gameplay of Child of Eden. It does quite quickly throw you into the challenging gameplay, but it is a nice kind of introduction to everything that you're going to be facing.
I'm not sure what to focus on.
I mean, it's probably going to get a little bit easier. Like, Matrix is very blocky, because obviously it's to do with the Matrix and computers and wireframes and all that sort of thing. All of the archives have very specific themes, which you will kind of see when we get to them. And so they're all very, very unique.
What to say, really? Just blowing up cubes.
It does get a lot more interesting and a bit more complex in terms of what you're going to be seeing visually, but Matrix is just very remarkably simple. It's all to do with blocks and all of that.
Well, if you were to ask me what's the personification of the internet, this would probably be the most base response I could give you. And now they're all tutti-frutti blocks.
But now we're getting thrown into what is a surprisingly quick bit of gameplay, because we're going to get flung up against these kind of walls, which are going to be thrown at us at a ridiculous speed, and this is easily the hardest bit of the Matrix.
Oh wow, it's all Star Fox right now.
I had to re-record Matrix because I got hit on this particular bit. I rammed into a wall and I was just like, no!
Oh, I'm a terrible influence on you.
Well, thankfully, I think other than one unfortunate incident in the last archive, I'm not going to get hit at all.
That's the last one. I think we can forgive you.
Yeah, and also it's a particular bit of the last archive as well, and I've never been good at it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I think one of the reasons why I'm not necessarily as much of a fan of Matrix as I am of some of the other archives is because musically it's a little bit dull until the last, 3 minutes or so.
I'm not noticing, any vocals popping out at me.
Yeah, it's only in the last few minutes of this particular archive that this kind of vocals are going to start to appear. And the song that is being remixed here is called Fly, which was on the Genki Rocket's first album.
Okay.
At the time it was actually, I think, my favourite song on that album, but I have kind of fallen out of love with it a little bit since then.
The only one I know, you can probably guess.
Heavenly Star.
Of course.
Yeah. I pretty much love the majority of the Genki Rocket's music. I wish that they had done more, but of the 2 albums that they have out, there are very few that I dislike. If any at all, really. But yeah, when I was saying about you are probably going to want to lower the sound effects, it's those things like the little bits of sound that you're just hearing when we get hit off on the enemies. Because if you're trying to shoot the Octolock on the beat,
Yeah.
those little sounds can just send you off.
Well, it's a rhythm game. You want to keep to the beat.
So it's a little bit frustrating, but oh well. Now, you can also, as you can see in the bottom, there's an area purified counter thing. That is your way of figuring out whether you've gotten 100% over the entire archive.
How many times did you get a 99% purified?
Surprisingly not that many, but it is generally in the 90% that I have always gotten.
Okay.
And it's frustrating, but it's only kind of certain areas within the levels that I tend to suck on, and therefore not do hugely well on the area purifieds.
Okay.
But you will actually see I think, 2 instances of 100% level purification, which I'm very proud of because it's the first time I've ever done it. But getting that unlocks concept art in the gallery. And you do generally have other challenges in the levels to unlock the concept art.
Any multiplayer to speak of in Child of Eden?
I'm not actually 100% sure. I think there is multiplayer, but I have never tried to kind of look at it. I mean, I think what it's there for is you can use additional controllers to provide external vibration and, like, adjust the music, which sounds odd, but it's like changing pitches and all sorts of stuff like that.
Okay.
I think I remember seeing some sort of weird setup where they'd gotten, like, loads of different controllers strapped to somebody's body, and they were using that as kind of like a full kind of experience.
Experience is the right word.
Well, this is something that I'd quite like to get onto as we go throughout the rest of the playthrough, because I recently wrote a blog post about what I like to call experience games, which are like games that you play for the experience, and the only way of describing them effectively is as an experience. Journey is another such game that I would use in those terms.
Okay. Wikipedia says Child of Eden is a single-player game, but that whole thing about using additional controllers to provide external vibration, etc., is correct.
Yes. But yes, this is where the sounds and the vocals are actually going to come in.
Oh, nice.
And it's just wonderful to experience. It's the only way to describe it. And now we're at the final bit of the level.
It's very exhilarating.
It's just an absolute joy to play. Like, I think... Well, I mean, the game did surprisingly well at review stage, which does surprise me. Because it's got, like, 80... Well, mid-80s, roughly, for the 360 version.
I've seen, like, bits and pieces of Child of Eden about the internet from, like, various review sites, but I never really, like, got what it was.
Well, it's a very, very difficult game to try and explain.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that I'll probably deal with in the next part, but its primary thing is synesthesia. But that's our first level done.
Nice, nice. Oh yeah, 4 stars, whatever the hell that means.
It's just the general ranking. And once you've beaten a level, you can get rewards to put into Lumi's garden, which change the way it looks, and it's just quite fun. And these are all concept art that we unlock because of things that I've done within the level.
Very nicely done, Rich. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time for another part of Child of Eden. Bye for now.